Hello. Welcome back to a very dull, damp and very windy Donegal. Although saying that, I've just crossed over the border into County Tyrone, so unfortunately it's just as dull and just as damp and every bit as windy here. Although saying that, I'm about 29 kilometers into my ride today, hoping to do just under 60 in total, and the last 7 or 8 has been a hell of a lot easier than the previous 20. I knew it was going to be windy today, so it structured the ride that the first section of it would be into the headwind, which would then hopefully give me a bit of a tailwind then for the majority of the middle of the ride and pretty much all the way up to the end of it, apart from the last 5k or so. So that first 20k was a real struggle. The wind speed must be 25 to 30 kilometers an hour, and coming through Ballabafay and out of Ballabafay, heading up through Barnes Gap, it was horrendous. It was absolutely horrible. I was really struggling to get the bike over 15 kilometers an hour, and that was on the flats. The only real shelter I got was there's a little slip road that takes you up the side of Barnes Gap and away from the traffic, and that's the hilly bit, but it's nice and sheltered with trees either side of the road, so that was the only relief I got from the wind at all. And then going through Barnes Gap itself, or heading towards Barnes Gap, it's really heavy drizzly rain and a lot of traffic and a few big lorries adding their spray to the rain, which was less than enjoyable, put it like that. But I'm on a lot quieter roads now, heading towards Castlederg, and I have the wind mostly behind me, kind of off my back shoulder, off my right shoulder at times, and sometimes coming at me from the side, which is going to make filming a wee bit interesting as well. But anyway, I'm out on the bike, which is the main thing, and that has been a bit of a challenge over the last few weeks, if I'm being perfectly honest. Today is the 20th of February, and today's my first day on the bike for, well, a week. Yesterday was my last ride, which was out with the local club, my home club, Fun Wheelers, based in Ballabafay, which was a great ride, but I didn't get out during the week whatsoever. And over the previous few weeks, that's been a bit of a trend as well. I think since I did my end of January update, I've only actually done 2 nighttime rides after work. Over the last few weeks, I've been in a real funk. I mentioned it on my last video where I was out wild camping in the woods, but it's really hit my cycling quite badly. I've been coming up with loads and loads of excuses and reasons not to get out on the bike, to stay at home and do something else, and it's nothing constructive, believe you me. A lot of it's sitting in front of the TV, scrolling mindlessly through social media, watching shite on YouTube. Yeah, it's been a difficult mental month. Coming up with this Audax challenge that I've decided to do was an easy idea when I was sitting on my couch at the end of December and beginning of January, and I had the excitement and novelty of it to carry me all the way through January. But once I got into February, I think the reality of it really struck home. the reality of the size of the challenge that I'm taking on, and the thought of the 600k cycle in particular has absolutely scared the life out of me at times. I wouldn't say I was having panic attacks or anxiety about it, but I really did have some serious concerns about being fit enough, quick enough to do it, and whether I'd have the mental fortitude to actually do it as well. I really did struggle with the thought of that 600k cycle for about a week, and it was the very first week of February as well. Did very little cycling that week. Now, how I got over that mainly was deciding to go out with the club the Sunday of that week, which was really enjoyable because I've done very little social cycling or group cycling over the last couple of years, and that was a nice ride, good group of people. I ended up doing a slightly longer ride than I expected and planned to do, and I ended up doing it with quite a strong rider as well. So while I wasn't really able to keep up with them most of the time, I was more than happy with what I did. And while I had planned to do 55k that day, I ended up doing almost 65 and didn't feel too bad after it either. That was encouraging, and that helped me for about a week. And then last week I had a real bad patch altogether. Just whatever it was, couldn't get out on the bike at all. I know part of it is probably the weather, the dark evenings this time of the year. It's not the most enjoyable time of the year to be cycling. But even today, it's crap weather. It's absolute shite. But look, I'm out on the bike and I'm enjoying it. Getting on the bike and actually doing the cycle's not the hard bit. It's getting my arse out of the house, off the couch, into my gear, and actually on the road. So hopefully, by talking about it here, I'm going to end February on a positive note. Sometimes by getting it off your chest and talking about it, it can clear the head. For one thing, it makes me more aware of how I'm feeling, and men in particular are very poor at talking about how they feel, and especially if they're having issues inside their own head, mental health if you want to put a label on it. And yeah, if you are having any kind of mental health issues, I would heartily recommend following a guy on YouTube called Haze Outdoors. That's H-A-Z-E. He does a lot of wild camping, long distance hiking, and a lot of bushcraft as well. And Haze is a really good guy, and he's had lots of struggles over the years with mental health, and he talks about them quite openly and quite freely in his videos about how he deals with mental health issues, how he gets his noggin, as he describes it, back in the right way of thinking again. And I've been paying a lot of attention to some of what he's been talking about over the last week or so as well. I've watched a few of his older videos and some of his more recent videos where he's had a good real struggle since Christmas, and that has helped as well. So what I'm hoping to do is, by talking about it here, sharing, how do they say, a problem shared is a problem halved, that by talking about it here, that I'll hopefully be able to empty my head a wee bit, and hopefully deflate some of the negative feelings that I've been having, get rid of some of those anxieties and concerns that I have about the upcoming events, and just focus on enjoying my cycling and getting the training done and getting fit. Although I haven't been getting out on the bike as often as I've wanted to do, I have still been steadily increasing my mileage. The target I set myself for February was to do at least one 80-kilometre cycle before the end of the month. Well, this is sort of just a midweek training cycle, and it's 60 kilometres, so that'll show you how the distances are increasing anyway. Last Sunday I was out with the club for a second ride, and that turned out to be slightly over 73 kilometers. So I'm very close now to hitting my target, and I'm hoping a little bit of positivity this week will get me out a few times. And I'm off for a long weekend, 4 days this weekend, so I'm hoping that one of the things I'm going to do that weekend is get at least an 80k ride done. So this has really just been a wee check-in, just as I say, to explain or to update everyone on what's been happening over the last couple of weeks. I have been struggling a wee bit to get the training done, as I said, but hopefully that I'm going to get back on track as well. If you want to see how I get on for the rest of my training, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, hit the subscribe button, and that'll bring you updates on all of my videos, and you'll see how the Audax training is going, and hopefully see how I get on the upcoming Audax events later on this summer. As always, thanks for clicking on the video, thanks for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed me getting cold and wet on this dreary Monday morning.